So you're traveling to Japan for the first time. You're super overwhelmed because there's so many rules you've seen on social media, so many faux pas, and you just don't know where to start. This is the video for you. This is the essential tips video for first-time travelers to Japan. Let's get into it. So the first thing to do is to get a Suica. It's basically an IC card. It makes everything infinitely easier. You can use it for trains, buses, convenience stores, vending machines, payments at certain shops, most shops really, and it just digitizes your money. You can charge it with a credit card or Apple Pay, the ticket machines, or at a convenience store. Super easy. Just use it for mostly everything. Which also gets to the point that cash is not king anymore, but we'll get into that later in the video. The next thing is land in Haneda, not Narita. I know it's gonna tell you on the website, dude, Tokyo, Narita. Narita is not in Tokyo, bro. That place is like super far, and you gotta take a bus or the Keisei liner to get into Tokyo. You're gonna be so tired from the long haul flight. Land in Haneda. Narita sucks. Only go to Narita if like you don't have a choice. Number 3, bring your passport everywhere, because this is for tax-free shopping and possible police frisks. But the former is that you can use it for tax-free shopping, which is dope. So most places in Japan have tax-free, 10% off. Most of the time you got to spend over $50 or 5,500 yen. Yeah, it's honestly only really worth it for like big purchases. I wouldn't stand in a super long line and go through a whole process just for like a $50 purchase or like socks or something like that. There are also some kind of rules to this too. Like you can't open it. You also have to like bring it to the airport, show the receipts and stuff like that. Whether or not that actually happens, do your due diligence and don't do tax fraud. Okay, next one is riding the train. When you're riding the train in Japan, be polite on the train. I know in some countries it's normal to kind of just talk on the train and make conversations with people. Try not to be a nuisance on the train. Be quiet on the train. Lower your voice on the train. You're probably at a 10, we need you at a 7. You're probably at a 7, we need you at a 5. Whenever my relatives and friends visit here, it's kind of just talking normally on the train, but even that is loud enough. I know a lot of people are probably gonna comment like, oh, I see Japanese people and drunk people and old ladies talking on the train all the time. Yeah, I know, but they're drunk. Also, don't talk on your phone. Don't play YouTube videos with the speakers blasting music. That's not happening. Is anything actually going to happen to you legally? No, but you're going to get the stares of death, and you're probably going to end up on social media and get canceled for it somehow. So just be wary of that. Actually, be polite anywhere. This kind of applies to like anywhere in public. So if you're loud in public or you're being a nuisance in public, the same kind of rule applies. Just read the air. You can kind of determine the noise floor of a place and just kind of stay right below it. You're at a 10, I need you at a 6. Okay, speaking of trains, take the Shinkansen when you're going to Osaka. I know a lot of people, they'll try and take the plane or a bus. The bus is viable, but it just takes a long time, about 8 hours. It's a night bus and it kind of hurts your back. Planes, you got to go through security, all that stuff. Shinkansen is there for a reason. I do recommend from the bottom of my heart to use Klook. Use my Klook code here. But you can book your seat, you can book the time, you could also cancel between 2 hours. And getting on the Shinkansen itself can be a little bit annoying because you have to go to a machine, get a ticket, then you got to use your Suica with your phone or with the card, and then also put the ticket. You don't know what to put the ticket. You got to keep the ticket. It's very, very confusing. And even if you buy it online from the official Shinkansen website, getting the QR code and then you have to put the mail address. It's like this whole thing. It's really, really annoying. When you use Klook, it's just like QR, done. You just put it on the gate and you're already in. Like that's it. And it's just that much more simple. Thank you for Klook for soft sponsoring, I guess, because I am a Klook creator, but they didn't ask me to make this video or make that plug. Next is cash is not king in Japan. I know a lot of people used to think that it was, and it was, honestly. Before the pandemic, cash was king. Like, we really didn't have any digital payments. There wasn't Apple Pay support as much. We have something now called PayPay. We have more contactless payments, and that had to do with not touching money and stuff. So we actually kind of developed these things. Honestly, if you're going on the golden trip video here, you're not gonna be going to the places that require cash like that 90% of the time. Like if you're going to like some ramen shop, or you're buying from a vending machine, or you're going to some mom and pop shop that you somehow knew about because you watched on social media, then yeah, you'll probably use cash. But if you're going to Tokyo, Osaka, Nara, like most of the time in these tourist areas, which is where you're gonna go, let's be real, they have like Apple Pay, they have credit, they have everything kind of ready to go. You could also use Suica, like I said before. But it is helpful to have cash on you, maybe about $100 to $200. Nobody's gonna steal your stuff, but it's worth having it. But I would prioritize using your card. You can fight me on that in the comments if you want. Also, if you are gonna use cash, try not to use the big 10,000 one, which is basically $100. A lot of these small shops don't have that much change to like give out, so go to a convenience store, break it up into 1,000 thousands, and it'll be a lot easier on the merchants. Okay, next is hotels. Now, hotels in Japan can be great, or they can be mid, or they could be very small and tiny. So most of the time, 90% of the time, unless you're getting a 4 or 5-star hotel, you're going to be getting a room that is basically 200 square feet. Tiny bed, barely any space for your luggage. Sometimes you might not even get the Japanese toilet, or the toilet is in the same place as the shower. It really just depends. If you do want to get a big room, you have to pay a lot, maybe like $800 maybe US to get like a big room at the Hilton or something. And that's a big room in Japan is basically a standard room in Kaigai or overseas. So if you can find a hotel with an onsen or a spa or something like that, definitely do it. Oh, I know one called the Appa Hotel. It's a big chain. Appa Hotel in Ryogoku has it, and Appa Hotel in Shiomi has it, which is near Disneyland. Very nice. But also, be aware that because of over tourism and price inflation of the hotels are insane. So rooms that used to be like $150 are like worth like $400 now. So, okay, next is it's okay to eat and walk and drink and walk on the streets of Japan. There's no rule about it that's illegal. You're not gonna get stopped by somebody. Everybody kind of does it now. It just kind of depends what you're doing. So legally, there's no open can laws in Japan. So you can drink outside if you want and drink like a beer or strong zero, whatever the heck, and you'll be fine. The only exception now is Shibuya. Shibuya is kind of annoying now. They've kind of cracked down on it because Shibuya is an anomaly. We don't really consider that Japan. It's kind of its own thing, party city. But you're not allowed to drink there anymore. Well, there's no legal punishment for it, but you're not supposed to drink there. You'll run into a little bit of annoyance trouble with the ordinance. Other than that place, you can drink outside, you can eat outside. Now, when I'm talking about eating, I'm talking about like small snacks. So bag of chips is fine. A rice ball is fine. Maybe a sandwich is okay, but you're not making like curry, or you're not making ramen noodles on the street, and you're not having a whole spaghetti meal on the street. That's not happening. It has to do with being a nuisance to other people and like standing on the street and getting in the way. Now, the only thing is that trash. That's probably where it comes from. And also respect to food and all that. You'll notice that there's not a lot of trash cans in Japan. So you're gonna find that you're putting your trash in your bag, or you're putting it in your pockets. You've seen the memes where the guys like unload all their trash into the hotel room at the end. That's a real thing. The only exception is that you can throw trash out at vending machines or nearby them. You can throw like pet bottles and cans, and at some stations you can throw them out inside the station. But yeah, you can eat in Japan, just mind the trash, and yeah, you'll be good. Okay, next is no tipping culture. Thank God, because tipping in America is crunched. Same with Canada. None of that. So if you're paying $10 for a meal, you're paying $10 for a meal. That's it. The service is included, and the service in Japan is absolutely chef's kiss every single time. I think I've only had rude service like maybe once. But also, that also means no splitting the bill for most cases. Some new places in Tokyo like will do it, but you're better off just like throwing it on someone's card and just giving each other cash or e-transferring, whatever you're gonna do. Some izakayas, which are Japanese pubs, they will charge you a seating fee, or they'll charge you otoshi. So otoshi is basically like an appetizer. It's basically a tip, if that makes sense. It's like a 300 to 500 yen dish that they kind of give you. And that's basically how they kind of make money if you don't really order enough food. You can probably cloak it in tradition or whatever. I'm not sure the actual reason for it. You can refuse it, but they probably won't waive the charge, and it will probably cause a micro issue, and it'll kind of get annoying. So you're better off just tanking it and just accepting it and giving it to your sister. And some restaurants will also require that you order 2 foods or 1 drink or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways that tipping kind of sneaks its way in. And the last tip is going to be try and learn a little bit of Japanese. Not 100% mandatory, but you'll find that it is a lot easier on your trip. Even some basic phrases like arigato, sushi kudasai, ocha kudasai, or like sumimasen. Sumimasen's a big one. Sumimasen is how you call people at the restaurant. If you don't say sumimasen at the restaurant and call them, they're not gonna help you, bro. They're gonna ignore you. I know in Western culture that's like super rude, but here but most of the time, in most situations, they'll come to you. But again, not 100% mandatory. You could also use Google Lens or a translator or something. A bonus tip is if you can travel with the local, it'll make this so much easier. They could be your little translator, a little guide, and just kind of make everything a lot easier. That's usually my role whenever my relatives and friends come. And that's also my role for you guys here on YouTube, to kind of help you out as a local. I know it's really weird to say that because I'm not like Japanese, but I've been here for a while, so I kind of consider myself a local. I pay taxes. I don't know. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to watch more videos about Japan, click this video right here. Cheers, legends.